Binge drinking is so hard to break. You do it every weekend, month after month, year after year, sometimes decade after decade. But there are ways of getting yourself out of that cycle, and that's what I want to share with you in today's video. My name's Dr Hayley Trower, and I'm a sobriety coach and a research psychologist, and I help people to quit drinking or take a break from drinking so that they can learn to love themselves and create success in their lives. So, 3 tips for how you can stop binge drinking. Tip number 1, do something different. It's really important to try different things because binge drinking ends up being the main focus of your life, the main focus of your weekends, and the main activity that you do. If you want to stop binge drinking, then I implore you to try something different, try something new. There's a famous Einstein quote, which is that insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So we have 2 ways of thinking. System 1 thinking, which is like our lazy brain, and system 2 thinking, which is like our mindful brain. And if you want to learn more about this, I recommend the book Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman. So normally we use our lazy brain, system 1 thinking, because it's fast, it's automatic, we don't have to think too hard, it's familiar, it's effortless. And so when we're binge drinking or we're doing some other habit, we're engaging the system 1 thinking, which is the lazy brain. System 2 thinking is like our mindful brain, and it's slow, deliberate, effortful, but probably leads to greater rewards, as I'll explain. So we have both of these ways of thinking, and most of the time we're engaging in system 1, lazy brain thinking, because it kind of just makes life a bit more comfortable and it can make us really efficient. But in situations like binge drinking, really, if we want to stop, we want to engage our mindful brain, our system 2 thinking, because we want to try something different. This is why, if you've ever thought to yourself, if you're a TV watcher and you've thought to yourself, I want to do something different to watching TV, it kind of is really hard to do because you end up just watching TV anyway, and that's because your system 1 thinking is active and it's just more comfortable to follow your own shadow and to do what you always do. I know I've done this in the past, and I would go and get a book and I would put it on the table next to me, but I would still just watch TV because it was just kind of more seamless and more effortless. But if you engage your system 2 thinking, your mindful brain, and you live your life with intention, then maybe you can pick up that book, and although it may be effortful, you pick up the book and you read it and you end up with a greater reward. And we might say something like, oh my God, I love doing this. Why did I never do this before? And that's because you've always engaged in your system 1 thinking and not your system 2 thinking. So that's tip number 1. Instead of going to the pub or doing what you usually do when you binge drink, do something different and be intentional about it, and know that it might feel a little bit effortful or a bit uncomfortable, and just accept that and do it anyway. Tip number 2 is to change your thinking. And you can do this by holding yourself accountable. Now, what do I mean by holding yourself accountable? I mean by taking personal responsibility for your thoughts, your decisions, and your actions. So if you're not holding yourself accountable, you might be saying to yourself, oh, I'll stop binge drinking when my friends stop binge drinking. Or the supermarket always has these amazing bargain beers right in my face when I get there and I just can't help myself. If you're thinking that way, then you're actually putting the power into someone else or something else. And if you aren't feeling empowered to make your own decisions and instead you're waiting for others to change, then you're never going to change, because the supermarket will forever be having alcohol deals and your friends may always binge drink. So if you can take personal responsibility, you can bring the power back to yourself, and then you can start to make decisions that are right for you, not right for someone else. And that's one way in which you can change your thinking. So you could then decide to go to a different supermarket, or you could try online shopping. There are different ways of managing triggers, and you just need to figure out what works best for you. Tip number 3 is get to know yourself. When we're binge drinking, we're disconnecting from ourselves. So see if you can find one night a week to spend time alone, treating yourself or pampering yourself and doing something that really makes you feel good, something that you really love, something that will make you feel happy, but that doesn't involve drinking. So cook yourself a nice meal. Think about your favourite foods and cook that for yourself, whether that's cheese on toast or slow roasted lamb. Treat yourself as though you would treat someone else that you love. You could think of a film that you've always wanted to watch, or a favourite film that you know makes you feel good. Or you could put music on and dance in the kitchen. You could go to a spa, get a massage. You could go to the gym, use a sauna, use the jacuzzi. Whatever it is that feels like you're being pampered, treated well, treated kindly, and looked after. Getting to know yourself and spending time alone with yourself in a positive way can really help you to start to change the way that you think about drinking and your relationship with drinking. Because your relationship with alcohol truly is mirroring your relationship with yourself. And so the better that you can get to know yourself, the better that you can make choices that are right for you. You can then open yourself up to new experiences, new perspectives, new opportunities, and a new, fresh way of experiencing the world. So those are my 3 tips. I'd love to know what you decide to do. What different thing are you going to do? And how are you going to treat yourself?